Hello everyone and welcome back to the Fire Emblem map tier list. Today I will be covering Shadow Dragon, my second favorite Fire Emblem game, but let's see if the maps can stack up. This one's probably going to be a lot shorter than the Thracia one, which was like an hour and 30 minutes because Thracia maps have a lot of mechanical stuff to discuss, as do the Conquest maps, but this one is just like, this was a remake of the first game in the series, and obviously NES games aren't that, mechanically complex. So this will probably be short and simple. And starting with Chapter 1, also I'm probably going to try a new editing style this time, like putting timestamps down in the description so you can skip to maps you like, and maybe eliminating the white stuff outline and like putting gameplay behind it in a green screen thing. So like comment if you hate that. I might not end up doing that, but comment if I do that and you hate it, because then I won't do it again. So first things first. Chapter 1 certainly is a chapter. I mean, there's really not much going on. You kind of walk to the left. It's kind of just like, the tutorial chapter. You have, like, your Gordon and your Doga, and Doga survives the pirates, teaches you what everyone does. By the way, I've completed, 2 Ironmans of this game. One on this YouTube channel, top right, if you want to check that out. I have a co-commentator, actually, in that playthrough, and we have fun with it, but, real ones remember that one from like 2 years ago, but yeah, so I am pretty experienced in this game. So I will be grading them on a hard 5, Iron Man perspective, since that's how I play the game. And this one on hard 5 is fine. I mean, Gordon gets one rounded, but hey, that's a good lesson to not put archers in range, I guess. And Sita's the only guy you can double, so that makes you their speed. Overall, it's just an okay introduction to the game, it's nothing special. This one I'd actually say is, well, let's see. This is the first map that kind of sandwiches you, which is a common tactic that the Shadow Dragon uses, at least. It's not like mechanically deep, there's no skill challenge. There's no skills, there's no dragon veins, there's no, like, combat arts. It's a remake of an NES game. There's no affinity or supports. So you really just need to create challenges for it based on the map layout and the enemy layout. And for a second chapter, putting a bunch of units that on top that come after you immediately, and then having cavaliers to the left come at you right away along with 1 or 2 pirates, is a pretty good way to get people used to army formation, since this still is the second chapter. I remember in my Iron Man, Doga died here. So it is a pretty tough chapter, even though it's still chapter 2. The boss is a bit unfortunate with his... I don't think the speed stats actually change. Yeah, no, I don't think difficulty changes the speed stats all that much, actually, but the point still stands that, you really need to have, like, Ogma or Core to deal with it, or Barst, actually. I think Cord actually doesn't get doubled, but Barst does, correct me on that. But yeah, it's, I'd say it's a pretty good intro. Well, not intro, I mean, yeah. And it's the first ever recruitable unit in the series in the form of Sail. He actually comes after Marth, you don't actually have to pursue him. So that's always fun. And then we have this one. This one I feel does it better than the last one with the sandwich thing, because you actually have an objective, because unlike Daros, he doesn't actually recruit himself, you have to go out of your way to get Navarre, and there are 2 hunters there that like one-shot Sita, so you definitely have to have your wits about you, which is good, and then there are some guys coming from the left as well, so you kind of have to split your army if you want to get everything done at once, and I think that's pretty cool. However, the boss, you need to, like, rig a crit with Ogma to actually kill him. So I don't think that's very good game design, but other than that, I think it's pretty good. Pretty good. This map, again, employs the sandwiching thing. A lot of these early maps use kind of the same strategy, but this one, I feel like, the chapters just keep getting better and better, because the boss on this one isn't even unfair. You get our Lord and Savior Mathis. It's nothing too crazy. So despite getting Mathis in this map, I'm not going to put it in Mathis tier. Because, I mean, there's just not much going on. I mean, I guess there's some things you can do. I mean, there's not really much room for, you know, creative strategy. I remember in my Iron Man board it died here. So, you know, actually, like, the thing is, this top tier is supposed to be reserved for really, really good maps, but I don't think... Like, I feel like Shadow Dragon is a game of maps that are just kind of okay at best. So I don't really think, despite how much fun I have playing it, most of my enjoyment doesn't come from the map design itself. I enjoy the other aspects of it a lot. So I don't really know if that many are going to be in, like, the God tier. I really don't. I really don't know that. But yeah, that's cool. So yeah, so far it's only an upward trend though. And I think that's going to continue here. I think this is a very good example of a very good map in Shadow Dragon that utilizes its limitations well. You have 4 units on Hard 5 that will pretty much get 1 or 2 rounded. But the thing is, 3 of these units are very good, 2 of which if you reclass them, but in their base class they're trash. So you're highly motivated to get over there, because they will die if you leave them unattended, especially Violent. Violent will die. You're not missing out on much if Violent dies, but he will die if you're concerned about that. And the enemies on this map are very hard, but manageable. You know, there's like, oh, do I want to have them come over the bridge? Like, how am I doing this? Because there is a bridge choke point, like right here. And it can be very risky to hold, because if you kill a guy on enemy phase, then another one can come through, and then maybe an archer shoots you, so you have to think out your positioning a lot. And then there's reinforcements. Unlike the rest of these maps, I'm pretty sure this is the first map with reinforcements. But they spawn mostly up top where units won't be, so it's unlikely you'll actually be killed like turn 1 by an ambush, unlikely. So, and they're flyers, and flyers are deadly in this game, especially in the early game, because they have much, much higher speed stats than your standard units. So you are highly, highly encouraged to go fast, to save the Wolf Guard, and those other guys, and I just think it's very fun to do. And this map is another very good map, especially in an Iron Man, because... By the way, I didn't say this earlier, but you get like 3 warp staves in this game, 7 uses each. I'm just going to grade these maps under the assumption that you actually intend to play the game and not skip everything. So you could say, oh, you can just warp skip this map. Yeah, that's not what I'm grading them on, especially in this game, where you get fucking 21 uses without the hammer. So this is another map that I think is very good. It encourages you to go fast because there's lots of good treasure like the Sephiroth Robe and the Physic and the Killing Edge, but the enemies in your way are very tough, like the aggressive Silverlands guys that are going to come down here. The archers are a bit of a threat. This is the first map where you're fighting mages, I think, and my Jagan actually died here in my Hard 5 Iron Man, because like, ooh, you gotta get the treasure, ooh, but the enemies are kind of tough though. And I had to employ some stuff to... So, like, I think, like, if you can tell by my other maps, I think maps that are hard, but fair, provide a good challenge, because you don't have to go after all the treasure, you can just play slow and, like, win. But, there's that extra little incentive, so... And because of the way it's designed, I think the map itself is better designed than the Wolfguard map, even though they have similar things going on. But yeah, I'd say these are definitely 2 very good maps, very fun to play. They are pretty much always, good parts of a playthrough. Also, if you're wondering why there are no Gaiden chapters on this, since this would be the first chapter without it, the first map without it, I mean, the first one would be after this map. That is because I am good at this game, and therefore have never gotten a single Gaiden chapter outside of a draft race I did once, besides the Tiki one, which is one people usually get purposefully to get a unit that's better than Tiki. Let's see. This map, I don't think is very good for a lot of reasons. One, if you use the all range feature, you know, you hit like X and it marks the enemy ranges. It's just not very good because Minerva, Paula, Est, and Katria are on the map, but they'll never attack you. But their range does get counted, which just makes the whole thing very annoying if you want to keep track of like whose range you're actually inside of. And then there's also the fact that the reinforcements in this map I think are kind of trashy. Like, you know, I said the reinforcements were kind of good in this map. In this map, it's like, they're zone-based, but they're like where you are, so as soon as you cross the zone, like a Rider's Bane guy is gonna spawn and some other shit's gonna spawn, and they're just gonna kill one of your guys. There's a save point right above it, but still, I just don't think it's very fun. And like, there's like 4 waves of them once you do cross the zone, and like, because they're hard 5 Cavaliers, you're not gonna make much progress, so it kind of just slows the map down to a slog, honestly. So I just don't think it's very good. So this is where the game's continuous, you know, Chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 all built off each other and became better and better and better until we got here, which it's just not very good. And that trend continues here, where it's like, you get Roger on this map, but there's not too much going on. You also get Caesar in red. God bless the United States of Caesar. Any OGs on the channel know that Caesar's my guy, but all you really do in this map is just kind of go up and go right. I mean, you can just completely avoid these guys by going outside of their ranges, because you can't do that. You can't just, like, not fight any of them. Like, there are some aggressive Cavaliers, but there's only, like, 4 to 6 of them, if I remember correctly. So, Chapter 8, there's really just not much to it. You kind of just walk up and you go get it. There is an extra thing you can do, because, the reinforcements spawn horsemen, which are super valuable EXP-wise, because they count as promoted units, even though you fight a lot of them in the early game, which is non-typical for a promoted unit. But the thing about that is actually, that's really only viable for Wolf and Sedgar, and, yeah, because the horsemen would just kill anyone else otherwise. You can't really reinforcements spawn and kill. Well, I guess you could just surround it, but that's I mean, I guess you can. There is something a little extra you can do with this map, but that's mostly just meta stuff. By the way, I say Wolf and Sedgar. I'm also operating under the assumption that you might not be using Wolf and Sedgar, because, like, I know most people do, but this game is beatable on hard 5 without them and using a lot of warp staves. Like, I have a save where I just use, like, shitty units like Violin, Rocher, Lorenz, Board, and I purposefully did not use Wolf and Sedgar or anything like that, and I still beat it fairly fine. I had like Dark Mage Massel on Kill Medius, so that was fun. That's not on this channel, that's just something I did in my free time. But yeah, you can do that. And this map has a lot of reinforcements, but I think they spawn just a bit too early, because like, by the time they spawn, you're like, one of your units is probably at George's house, getting him, or like a couple, like you need 2 or 3 to guard Marth, and then some are right here. And, yeah, so you're probably like around here on the map where my mouse is, and then like 3 waves of super powerful reinforcements start spawning. And it's like, you can't really progress at this point, and you had no chance to stop them. Like this map, you can't really stop the reinforcements. You can stop like 2 of them, like 1 if you have like Draco Jagan, and like 1 with Seda. You can stop like 2 of them, like 2 or 3 of them, but there's still gonna be some. This one you can pretty much stop none of them, because if you have like Draco Jagan or Draco Seda come down here, or just regular Seda, they can only block like 2 at once, and there are like 4 forts, and so the pirates can just walk on water and get them, so there's no blocking the reinforcements. And the map just kind of becomes a slog when they spawn, because you can't really progress at all. Yeah, I don't really like this map. It's just, I feel like if the reinforcements spawned like 4 turns later, it would encourage actually aggressive play, because it's like, oh, I gotta get there before the reinforcements spawn. But I feel like the way it is, it's just like impossible to actually avoid the reinforcements, which just kind of goes against my taste in maps, because it just becomes a whole slog, because then you have to fight like all 4 waves. Yeah, I'd say it's actually worse than this one, because at least this one you can like at least block a few and like get away with it. And this one I think is the best map so far. Again, it makes very good uses of reinforcements. If you watch my hard 5 Iron Man, like 4 units died on this map. It was kind of crazy, because you have enough time to actually like progress in the map a fair bit before the brigade comes, and when the brigade comes down, and they come hard. You really don't want to be here when they spawn. So, like, it becomes a frantic mad dash, get through here, okay, get Maria, get Minerva, and oh my god, get through here. So it becomes very fun, and you have to manage, like, getting Maria, getting the treasure, getting Minerva, and there's just a lot to do in it, so I think it's actually my favorite map so far. It's very stressful, very fun to actually play in general, because you get a lot of good stuff on this map, like another physics staff, and 11 sword, and Minerva, and I think the challenge is hard but fair. You just gotta go fast, kid. Don't be slow. So I think it's actually a very fun map. This map is, like, just kind of okay. Like, there are, like, 2 to 3 ballista guys, but that's not enough to, like, make the complete map annoying. I mean, for the most part, you're just kind of going up here, and then, like, you just save before the ballista guys, and you reset until Seda goes and gets Jake, because there's a save point, like, around here. So there's really not much to it. Honestly, I will say I appreciate how, in these Arcanea maps, I will say I appreciate a lot how they actually integrate the world into the map, like, because the pre-map intro is like, oh, this is the capital of Arcanea, and, you know, hold on, let me think of what I'm trying to say here. This is the capital of Arcanea, and there's a shopping district, and then you actually go there, you see there's, like, the castle, and then there's actually, like, the shopping district. Like, I'm not grading the map based on that, I'm just saying I appreciate it a lot from a game design perspective, because the world actually feels lived in. It really feels like, you know, you're going from place to place in this kingdom, compared to a game like, you know, Three Houses, where it's like, oh, we gotta go to blah 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 blah, you know, and save the Deduians, I forgot what their actual country is called, and you go there, and it's just like the same map you've been on 30 times, and it's like, oh my god, the town by the monastery is under attack, and it's just like, you know, a little house area, and it's the same as every other place you've been to. And, like, Fates even, which doesn't reuse maps, it's like, well, doesn't reuse maps in the same route. Like, Birthright and Fates and Conquest obviously share some maps, but, like, but they have different objectives and everything, but that's besides the point. So, like, you go to, like, you know, well, actually, no, I guess Fates does do a pretty good job of it, because, like, whatever, but, like, well, actually, no, each place you go to in Fates is, like, a very specific small place. Like, you go to the border town of Chev, and it is just Chev. Like, it's a good map, because you get Charlotte and Betty on it, and there's fun stuff to do. But, what I mean is that these Arcanea maps are bigger picture. Like, if you go to Chev in Fates, it's just Chev, it's just the town. But in these Arcanea maps, what I appreciate about them is that it's the bigger world about it, makes everything feel connected. Like, because you have the castle and you have the shopping district. Like, in Fates, if there was a mission here, this would be like the whole map, and it would obviously be zoomed in, and the scope would be bigger, like you would see more detail here. But what I like about these Arcanea maps is that it's just bigger scale. You get to see a lot more of the world this way. But anyway, my actual grading of the map is, like, right here. Because there's really no incentive to, like, go fast. There's visiting the shopping districts can be fun because of all the stuff you can buy. Recruiting Seda can be recruiting Jake can be a bit annoying if you don't reclass Seda, because obviously ballistas shoot down flyers, but overall it's just kind of okay. This is another very good map. I have a lot of fun playing this map. There's lots of treasure to get. There are 3 thieves you need to take out right away. You have to free the prisoners, and if you watched my video, beating Fire Emblem How Nintendo Intended, there are a lot of ways to free those prisoners. Very creative ways you could come up with before they get shot to death. So this map is definitely allowing for a lot of creativity, as seen in that video. Go watch it if you haven't, I think it's a really good video. And obviously there are a lot of reinforcements. You can obviously just Wolfgar them, but if you don't, there's incentive to go fast. You can just block them also, like, with the Minerva map, it's a bit ridiculous to block them, because Minerva will try to attack you, but this one you can just put, like, 4 guys right here that you're not going to use for combat anyway, so you can just block them, which is fine. There's a dragon right here, but you can just use the treasure room to get around them, so there's a bit of map, you know. Like, the Minerva map kind of introduced going different ways. Like, sure, in the George map you can kind of, like, go down here, but it's not really practical. In this map, this map you can, like, go around, get Maria from the backside, go in, because that way you don't have to fight the sniper. So now that we're on, like, chapters, like, 10, 11, 9, the map is really starting to give us maps that are... The game is really starting to give us maps that are kind of cool, actually, I think. So you can fight the dragon, and then you don't have to go through this door, and going through this door is risky, because if I remember correctly, there's like a sniper here that can just gun down your guys if you don't take precautions. So I think this is a really good map. I'd still say Minerva's map is better, though. Oh my god, okay, so what chapter are we on? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so chapter 13 is a map that, is exclusively ballisticians. You only fight ballisticians on this map, besides, like, 2 thieves. Do I need to say anything else about it? It's just not what I would consider to be, It's just not what I would consider to be good game design in any way, shape, or form. This map is fun. There are thieves going for the stuff right away. I think you get the silver card on this map, actually. And Minerva and Seda can just go down, so you need to split up your army again, otherwise you're not going to get the treasure. The reinforcements on this one can be a bit cancerous, like they spawn from the side, kind of right here. They spawn from the side kind of right here. So it can be a bit annoying if you guys are right here, but I guess that, I mean, you can kill the boss in time. You can, and like, they only spawn 2 at a time, so you can just kind of have 2 guys block this point. But that becomes risky, because they're pretty strong. I think at this point in the game, enemies might start having good... No, I don't think they have forged weapons at this point, but they might. Anyway, the Pegasus Knights are pretty strong here. And then there's this room of archers that come down. You can go up and kill them, or you can just move past them. So again, it took like 10 chapters, but we're finally starting to get some freedom. Just the fun joy of getting down here, fighting the strong cavaliers with like... Because really only your flyers can get down here fast enough, and you can have a few by this point if you like promote some guys and reclass them to flyer. And the enemy cavaliers are pretty strong, so you have to be wary of that. It's likely that they'll be without healing unless you use the physics stave, so you have to be careful about your positioning if you want to get all the treasure. Crossing the initial bridge is pretty cool. Actually, I won't put it in Mathis tier, because if you want to get the Thoron tome and like get everything, you have to walk Marthas all the way over here across the trees, and then walk him back, and that can take like a pretty long time, kind of slows down the pace of the map a bit. So I'll put it at the top of it's good, I think that's fair. This map, it's like the reinforcements spawn in front of you, so there's really no reason to progress. Like, you're not going to want to push into the desert when like 3 Draco Knights spawn every couple of turns. So what you want to do is you want to wait until turn 15 ends, because like you're not going to be making any real progress, because like if you have any like snipers or horsemen at this point, they're only going to have like 2 movement in this desert. So you just want to wait in this initial area where you can actually safely defeat them. And I just don't think that's very fun, honestly. And obviously desert map movement, I think desert maps can be fun, but I don't really think it's works out too well here, if I'm being honest. And of course there's like 1 mage spawning every turn from Garnef's little room, so I don't think that's very fun. This map, I think, is... alright, there's that thing I was talking about earlier with the, with this map, where it's like, this is the capital of Marth's homeland, and compared to, like, Fates or something, where the map would probably take place only on this little tiny peninsula here, you get the full Marth's kingdom, which I appreciate. Like, I'm not saying Fates' map design is bad. You know, I like a lot of the maps in Conquest, as you probably saw in my Conquest tier list video, but, I just think they're good in different ways. Like, this one really shows you the oomph of it. Like, you know, this is Marth's whole homeland. You are quite literally recapturing his homeland, rather than just a smaller section of it. And what I think it does good, it does... Oh, I picked the wrong map. It does very good. Like, you can go... down here to get Zane right away, but then you have to fight the heroes, and that allows you a quicker path to the boss. Or you could go this way and get a stat booster, but then you're taking the long way around. And like, if you go this way, you can also pretty much just avoid these reinforcements. So I think it inspires good decision making, allows for creative decisions. The enemies are aggressive like right away, so that creates a fun map. Like, there are 3 Draco Knights that'll come for your ass right away. And in like the desert map, you actually have the maneuverability to actually be able to do something about it. So, I think it actually, well, yeah, And you can use 4 guys to block these reinforcements, but then you have less guys to actually take on the very tough, like, horsemen and paladin that spawn right here. So that can be a bit tricky. So, actually, I don't really know where to put this map. I think it's good. Yeah, I think I'll just put it, like, I don't think it's as fun as the other maps, like, I'll put it at the top of it's good, like, bottom of map is tier, whatever. This map, I don't think, it does have, like, one good aspect, but that aspect doesn't kick in until, like, later in the map. In the first part of the map, it's just kind of a slog, because you, like, you go up, you get the treasure, and then you gotta move your eyes all the way back down here to actually go seize the throne. But then the actually interesting mechanic of the map, it kicks in once you unlock the door to get to the boss, because reinforcements spawn. But there's a secret shop with a lot of good items, like the poleaxe and the longbow, right at the very tippity top of the map. But then cavalier reinforcements start spawning, so once you actually open this door, you want to rush in super fast, which can be dangerous, because I think there are knights with, like, forged javelins and shit, and other stuff going on, so you can just get to the secret shop right away without having to deal with, like, I think it's, like, really a shit ton of reinforcements. So, this map doesn't get interesting until, like, 20 to 30 minutes in. But once it does get interesting, like, for, like, 5 minutes, it can be pretty good, unlike these maps, which pretty much never get interesting, so I'll just put it at the top of map. This map is, like, the definition of map, honestly. Like, there's really no map gimmick or choices to make. You pretty much just go in a straight line. You pretty much just go in a straight line, and you go down, and then you go right, and there's really not much to it. It's pretty much only mounted units, so if you have a Rider's Bane, this chapter becomes that much easier. But yeah, it's just, like, not what I would call very interesting. So for being the definition of a map, I'll put it in the middle of the map tier. This one, again, you just kind of go up and you get the treasure. It's just kind of like a straight line map. Like, these two maps back to back are just kind of straight lines. There is a bit of an incentive to get the thieves, but, like, you should have, like, an entire army of, like, promoted Cavaliers and Dragon Knights at this point, so it's not really like they're getting away at this point. So yeah, pretty 2 maps right in a row, I'd say. And then we have, this map, Camus the Sable. There's a lot going on in this map. I actually think the reinforcements in this map are pretty well handled. There are a bunch of forts, if you notice here, but the reinforcements don't spawn at such a pace as to where you can't reasonably get to them, so that forces you to be aggressive and push into the territory of the ballista. This will also allow you to get the hammer and staff, which is good. And then it's, or you could go through this bridge, not bother with the reinforcements, and create a little choke point across the bridge, and maybe just have Marth get the hammer and then pull them out so you don't have to take the reinforcements on full force. I think this map is actually one of the few maps to make good use of Ballista. Now, where did I actually put it? Alright, Camus the Sable. There are lots of interesting choices to make. You can have your flyers go up here. You can deal with the reinforcements down here. You can go to the left immediately, but then you have to fight the super powerful generals, which even if you have a forged hammer, you might not even be able to deal with them if you don't double, because I think at this point in the game, generals might start actually having speed stats. Like, I remember in my Iron Man, Minerva might not being able to double these guys, but that might just be Minerva being an incredibly sad unit on Hard 5, though. And then the boss fight with Camus himself is very good. He has the powerful Gradivis. I remember in my Iron Man I actually had to use the Earth Sphere to defeat him risk-free, so it inspires some creative stuff to deal with him. I actually think this is a really good map. Like, I know, like, it may seem contradictory that, like, oh, this map spams reinforcements, but you complained about other maps that spams reinforcements. But, like, it's all about the difference in how they're handled, honestly, and the actual turn count they appear on. You know, when I complain about these things, context is everything. Like, there can be some maps where I think reinforcements are great, and then there can be, you know, this map where they just slog down the whole map. In this map, they encourage speed, they encourage precision, they encourage fun play, and there are multiple paths you can take, which is fun. And it all tops off with a very cool boss battle with a unit, and once you defeat him, you get a holy weapon, so that is very, very fun. Alright, what's this one? This one is similarly bad to this one, where you just kind of, like, wait for the reinforcements to happen. Because I think they spawn on like turn 4 or something, and like, sure you can get to the boss on turn 4, but I think that's unlikely unless you have a super unit like Wolf or Sedgar. So what you do, I think in my unit where I just used like Violin and Lorenz and shit, I just kind of waited it out. That's kind of lame. Again, like if the reinforcements spawn like 2 turns later, where if they're like still a threat, but they're not like annoying. And this is one of the few instances where I don't think splitting up your army is good, because I just end up rushing them all towards the center anyway. Like, in my Sakura map, I did in my Conquest tier list, I rated that highly because they utilized the army splitting up mechanic really well. But in this map, I just feel like it doesn't really add anything. I just don't think it's very, good. In this map, I mean, there's really, again, not much to this. You just kind of walk up, and Michaelis sends his army at you, and you send your army at him, and it's just like, I don't know if you can hear my hands, like, it's just kind of a mashing 2 things together. They're not really strategically placed, it's just, he sends all his bullshit guys at you, you send all your bullshit guys at him, you see who comes out on top. There's really not much thinking to it. But I don't know, it's better than the tutorial map at least. Like, Shadow Dragon kind of gets a bit weird in the endgame with the maps where, like, in the mid-game they were, like, super cool. Like, these are pretty much all mid-game maps besides, like, Camus the Sable, which I would say is late-game. But, like, I don't know, it's like, this map just kind of has nothing going on, really. Like, again, he sends his guys at you. I guess there is an incentive to go fast, to stop the reinforcements from spawning, but what you can do is you can just have your ballisticians shoot down Michaelis, which is, like, fine, I guess. Like, well, no, what I mean is you can have them shoot down Michaelis, which then actually stops the reinforcements from spawning. And you have, like, 3 of them at this point if you count, that guy, Zane. So there's really just not much to it, honestly. Like, I don't know. I'd say having the Great Clash of the Armies is fun, so I don't know. I guess I'll just put it above Roger map. I don't know. This map can be very good or very bad depending on, well, it has ambush spawn swarm guys, which I'm not a fan of, but, there's a gimmick where you can, like, find the real Garneth, but, like, you can just eliminate that with the Earth Sphere to see which one is the real one. And what I do when I'm not doing an Iron Man is I just soft reset. What I do like about this one compared to its... What I do like about this one compared to its, new mystery counterpart, is that you aren't really forced to fight Garneth. If you are unprepared and, like, don't have Starlight or anything, you can the boss is not Garneth, so you can just kind of, like, run past him, which I think is pretty good. The map itself is fine, like, you're climbing the staircase, but then there are just swarm guys attacking you, which is pretty annoying in all honesty. Like, you can't really even aggressively approach them because there's this big fucking wall in the way compared to Camus the Sable, which, like, there are ballista and they're hard, but you can actually approach them. I mean, I guess you could have your ballisticians deal with it, but that's assuming they're still alive, assuming you're playing an Iron Man, compared to this one where you don't really need your ballisticians to take them out. So that's just kind of annoying. But again, the new mystery thing, in new mystery, Garneth blocks the stairs to the throne, compared to this one where he doesn't really, you can, like, kind of skirt around him. So he blocks the stairs to the throne, and, like, you just can't really do anything unless you have Starlight. So if you, like, got past the Michaelis chapter, and you saved, and you didn't get Starlight, get fucked, kid. Well, that's new mystery. This is this game. And I appreciate that there's a hard boss, but you can just completely ditch him if you don't feel like it, so that's a pretty cool gimmick. Swarm guys are a bit annoying, but I feel like the map gimmick is overall cool enough to where it's, like, at least better than this one, so, like, I usually have fun playing it when I do. Like, the feeling of climbing a tower is pretty cool, I guess. This one has a bunch of reinforcements. Here's the thing, though. You can just kind of have them not happen by just triangle attacking the boss turn 1, or just forging a Dragon's Bane and just killing them, just fucking killing them. So that turns a potentially interesting map, because you spawn literally right next to him. So, like, what you can do is just one-shot the boss, like, on turn 1 without a warp staff, and then really, what is the map? It's you walking down, picking up the almond, walking around, and you're just going in a big circle. So I don't really think it's that good, honestly. Like, the late game, I'd definitely say Shadow Dragon peaks in the mid game. But, like, yeah, I mean, honestly, Chapter 1 is more engaging. Like, it's not actively a bad map like these ones are, it's just kind of... I mean, I guess that happened. I mean, you cannot kill the boss, but then the map just becomes really annoying, because I think the reinforcements literally go until turn 96. So you really just want to kill the boss until on turn 1. This map is really just meant to be a training map, because even on hard 5 enemies, because this is the Gaiden chapter, all the enemies are super weak. So this is pretty much just like one final chance to train your units before endgame. So yeah, I mean, it's alright. Again, like, this is probably only going to be 40 minutes long, since now I only have to talk about endgame compared to the Thracia map tier list where, drank some water there. Compared to the Thracia map tier list, which was an hour and 30 minutes, because, like, Shadow Dragon's a very simple game, so I'm really not going to, like, bitch about one map for 20 minutes at a time. Besides this one, because it has Ashtram on it, and it has nothing but Ballista. Ooh, Ashtram, oh, how you haunt me. But, like, here's the thing about this map. There are a lot of things. I purposefully didn't bring it up in my bad final level video, because I think it's very hard to actually quantify the quality of this map. So here's the thing. It has very good aspects, but it has very bad aspects. Good aspect, I think it does the splitting up of your army thing very well. The enemies on this map are very, very powerful, especially on hard 5. But here's the thing, like, so you have 4 guys here, but there are only 2 guys in this left room. So what that results in is you needing to use a lot of your army to actually kill some units, because I'm pretty sure there are heroes that are capped speed or near capped speed. I think they might have like 23... Well, no, I think the heroes have like... No, not capped speed, definitely not capped speed. I think the heroes might have like... Well, shit, I actually don't remember. They either have like capped speed or like 20, around 21, when the hero cap is like 26, I think. So what this results in is everyone in your army needing to contribute, which is what I like a lot about the Thracia endgame, since they're all split up and they all have tasks they need to accomplish. It feels like everyone's contributing. So like there's a hero and like a mage dragon in here. Okay, you need 4 guys who can deal with that. So it feels like one of the maps in the series where you really need to spend a lot of time on that prep screen. Because I feel like in this map is more decided by the preps and your planning than the actual map itself, if that makes any sense. Because I feel like most of the action taken that decides the outcome of the map happens on turn 1. Like, Marth going up here, opening this door, and like putting a guy here to deal with the calves. Like, this guy needs to go up here, you, like... Maybe not turn 1, okay, so maybe not turn 1, because you're not doing most of your combat on turn 1. I feel like most of the things that decide the outcome of this map happen on turn 2, because then you're gonna, like, be fighting this guy, and, like, the guy's right here. It takes, like, a turn, so, like, and if you can't successfully repel all the forces you need to on turn 2, then the map pretty much just falls into place. But it's very satisfying to, like, there's obviously still the guys from up here you need to deal with who are very powerful. But, it does have, like, the reinforcements, I'd say, are mostly good because they spawn from back here where your guys aren't, but they're very powerful. Like, even if you have, like, even if you have a guy with, like, capped stats, you probably don't want to fuck with these guys. And for being honest, because they'll just slowly, like, go around them and pick up your weak units one by one. And then you really do want to go quickly, because if this area where Medius is gets clogged with reinforcements because it's a single hallway and a lot of your guys aren't doubling, it can actually be really, really hard to break through there, which I think is an interesting way to encourage fastness rather than just the strength of the reinforcements themselves, the actually being able to get into this room part. There's a gimmick where, like, doors can close in this map, but I actually find that more helpful rather than not useful because, like, if I have a guy here blocking the reinforcement spawn of the ballista, then obviously I don't want him to be attacked and killed. But, like, again, like, the ballista reinforcement is a really bad thing about this map, because you can just be moving Elise or, like, a hero up through here. Oop, ballista spawn, dead. So that really does kind of enforce what you're allowed to do, because you always definitely need to have a guy blocking the ballista ambush spawn, compared to the Camus map, where, like, maybe you can choke a point on the bridge and maybe make a stand, and, like, this map where you can kind of avert the reinforcements. But this map is kind of like you're kind of forced into it. Like, this requires a lot of planning in battle preps. Once you actually have your plan made, the map itself is very linear in what happens. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, just having everything be decided on the battle preps. Like, compared to, like, Binding Blade, the chapter where you fight Zephiel. Like, yeah, you can do a lot of preps in this map, but, like, there's still stuff going on throughout the map. Like, when you fight Zephiel, open his room, a bunch of guys spawn, so you kind of have to go quickly, and that happens, like, I don't know, like, turn 30 to 50, I don't fucking know, however long it takes you. But in this map, if you just plan it out, and you have to, like, dynamically plan around stuff that's happening, like, sure, like, every map in Fire Emblem, you can, like, calculate how it's gonna go down from the preps, but, like, if you're on, like, turn 35, right, there are a lot of factors that need to happen for you to be in the exact same position on turn 35 if you played the map a bunch of times. Like, if you reset like one Fire Emblem map 35 times and got to the end, the odds of you getting to the end the exact same way every time, like, you could get crit, a skill could activate, you could miss, like, Fire Emblem is a very dynamic game in that way, where you can play the same game 10 times, and it's gonna be different every time, but like, this map kind of breaks that trend, because again, like, if you kill everything you need to kill on turn 2, you gotta just go up this hallway and you just kind of go kill Medius. But the planning phase, I'd say, is very satisfying, because you really do need a precise plan to kill everything you need to on turn 2. Yeah, geez, I don't really know. Like, the ballista reinforcements is annoying, but it's fun to plan. But after turn 2, it can be kind of a walk in the park. Then you have to deal with these guys, and it's like, ugh. And Medius himself is kind of a bullshit final boss, because, like, Marth deals effective damage to him, but a capped Marth gets double blime and one-rounded, so Medius himself is kind of fucking bullshit, honestly. It's like, I'd say it's definitely one of the better endgames in the series overall, but I definitely say it's at least good. I'd say it's good, like, not the best map in the game, but there's enough going on in it to where it's thoroughly entertaining. Alright, and that is the Shadow Dragon tier list. Discussing endgame took me a while, because it definitely is one of the most interesting endgames in the series, comparing, you know, just what you have to do to go through with it. But yeah, very fun overall game. You know, if you notice, like, compared to the other tier lists, most of the maps in this are in Meh tier, compared to Thracia, where I feel like Meh only had like 3 or 4 maps. Correct me if I'm wrong, I might just go rewatch that tier list after this, just to check, but like, there's definitely not a lot of dumpster fire maps. Like, even then, like, I just find these maps kind of boring rather than actively angering, like some of the Thracia and Conquest maps. So overall, I'd say Shadow Dragon is mostly just a pretty fun game. It's just pretty fun. There are only like 5 maps in the whole game that I'd say are like, whatever. But you're gonna at least be having fun playing a majority of the game. And, you know, for the first game in the series, obviously I'm getting the remake, but the maps were designed in the first game and they didn't change them. They're actually pretty good, you know, you could definitely tell they were good at making strategy game maps and making strategy games in general right off the bat. Even though I don't like FU1 like very much at all, I think that just has mostly to do with the limitations of what they could do on the NES. Because clearly, if this is my second favorite game in the series, it like must have been the NES's fault that it wasn't that good in the first place. And then it eventually became good. I'm probably gonna do a so yeah, overall, Like, I know the graphical style can be a hurdle for some people, but I definitely think it's a Fire Emblem game people should play. It's very charming in a lot of ways. But, and I think it has the best UI in the series. Like, I didn't grade any of the maps based on UI, obviously, because that has nothing to do with it, but in terms of just UI, user interface, and, like, the sound effects the UI makes, I definitely think, like, this is where the series peaked. Well, of course, there's New Mystery. Next week, I'm probably gonna be doing New Mystery of the Emblem. And let me tell you, my opinion on that game, like, I think this is a contrarian opinion where I actually like Shadow Dragon more than New Mystery, but when I'm gonna talk about New Mystery, you can believe I'm gonna be a lot harsher on it than I am this game, because I feel like that this game definitely has a lot more bullshit. Like, the maps here, besides, like, the Ballista one, you can't really say, oh, that's bullshit. Like, yeah, there are Draco spawns, but it's like, oh, you just kind of have to wait for them to end, and it's boring. It's not like, oh my fucking god, I'm gonna shoot myself in the head because of this map. It's just something you kind of have to deal with. The Ballista map's kind of bullshit, but, like, New Mystery really can be a game that induces heavy emotions in some people. But we'll cover that next week, and thanks for watching this. Bye-bye.